Hello friends, this is Barbara with Wigs and Fluff. Now today I wanted to talk to you about wigs riding up. Does your wig ride up? Well, I might have a few solutions to that. Now I have shoulder length hair. It's very, very thin and straggly, and I'm losing most of it. But I do have a few strands, not much. But it's enough to wind around into a very small little bun. I secure it with about 3 bobby pins. I keep bobby pins on hand. I put it in, put the bobby pins in, and it's right there. The bun is right there. And when I put the wig on, it hooks underneath that bun and my wig goes nowhere. So that's one thing. Another thing you can do is you can get one of these kinds of hair bands that they sell them on Amazon, and you can get one of these. It'll snugly keep that wig on and keep it from riding up. I don't use these because it gives me a migraine. I don't like things that are tight on my head. It just gives me a migraine, but that's just me. Now, another reason why your wig might be riding up, it could be because your wig is too small. You may have one that's the wrong size for you. So you need to measure correctly right around the nape of the neck, right up here at the top like that. And mine is 24¼ and most average size wigs fit me just fine. I'm probably on the low end of average, got a smaller head, but the wigs seem to stay on my head. So that could be one thing. If your wig is too small, it's just going to scooch up. So that could be a problem. The last thing, my last tip that I can think of is that your hair might be dirty or your wig might be dirty. You might need to wash your wig and your hair. So I would say wash it, use your shampoo, your wig shampoo, which is, I use John Renault, number 1 and 2. Put it in the shower, hang it upside down, and the next day you're ready to go. A clean wig will adhere to your head much better than a dirty one. If you've worn it more than 10, 12 times, like all day, not just for an hour, but all day, 10, 12 times, then it's time to wash the wig. And I would recommend it. So anyways, there you go. Those are my tips on wigs that ride up. I don't have that problem, and I think it's because of the bun. That's just me. And that is the reason why I haven't cut my hair or shaved my head yet. So, anyways, I have a story for you today, and my story is about, it's a woman in the Bible. We've been doing this Woman in the Bible series, and her name was Priscilla. Priscilla. And she had a husband who was named Aquila. So it was Priscilla and Aquila. Priscilla and Aquila. Priscilla and Aquila. Kind of rhymes. Anyways, they're found in the book of Acts. And they are helpers, co-workers of Paul. Paul was not a disciple of Jesus, but he was called an apostle. He was one of the first missionaries to follow, or followers of Jesus in the Bible after the death of Jesus. So Aquila and Priscilla were co-workers. They were tent makers. They were hard workers. She worked all day long next to her husband, Aquila. And they were workers in the temple. They were teachers in the temple. And they traveled with Paul all the time. They were friends of Paul. They were mentored by Paul the apostle. And Priscilla was the original owner of the go bag. I mean, she was ready to go at any point in time. She was ready to go for the Lord. Wherever she was needed, wherever Aquila was needed, she was right there to be a helper, to do what was necessary. So that's who she was. She was a hard worker, and she was a mentor. when she was in Ephesus with Paul, there was a young man named Apollo who came in and started teaching in the temple. But as she listened to him, she noticed there were some errors in some of his thinking. And so she and her husband Aquila brought Apollo back to their home. He stayed with them for several days, and she gently corrected him. And he took to the correction because of her gentle nature. He was able to take it in and understand his errors. So he became a great teacher because of them, because of their willingness to take some time with him and teach him. And they traveled to Corinth, they traveled to Ephesus, they traveled to Rome. They were going everywhere to help and start these churches. And when they were in these cities, she would oftentimes have the meetings at her home, in her home. So she was also a good homemaker, cleanly. She organized herself well. She was a mentor, a teacher. She was a prophetess. She was willing to go when she was needed to go. She was loyal, and she was a wonderful wife to Aquila. Now, she was not a Jew, not a Jewish woman. She was from another ethnic background, but her husband Aquila had taught her in the way. The way is the term that was used in the Bible for followers of Christ. That was before they were called Christians. So Priscilla was already a follower of the way, and she was mentored and taught even more by Paul himself. So, and she sat at his feet and soaked it all up. She and Aquila both. And they became her co-worker with Paul, co-workers in the faith. She worked hard. Now, she met an awful end. She was in a Roman arena with a lion, and she was mauled to death by a lion. That was her ending. She was martyred for the faith. She was a small woman, a slight woman, and wasn't much she could do against a lion. So she just stood there proudly and was destroyed and killed. So that's the story of Priscilla. People like to call her Prista. She was a beautiful woman. She was a lovely woman, loyal, fierce in her faith. And that's my story for today, Priscilla. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow for another story. Bye.